You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast. Joined today, as I often am, by the mellow Giles Edwards.
Hi.
And the mischievous Pete Turbovich.
A chaos gremlin. That's me today.
And later in the episode, we will briefly be joined by Linus O'Brien, the son of Richard O'Brien and director of the documentary Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror, where we'll talk a little bit about Rocky Horror and the documentary itself. So that's something to look forward to after we get through what may be the largest slate of new releases I've ever seen. We have 14 new releases of varying significance, but some of them are quite significant this week. And there they are. Can you see this large?
Yep.
Okay.
It's like a buffet of crazy.
A buffet of crazy indeed. Lots of outsiders on this one. Let us jump right in with the very first item, which I will allow Giles to describe briefly for the audience.
All right. Well, this looks like a film still with a early Technicolor sheen to it. Young woman with golden curly locks lying down on a blue fabric backdrop thing, which is littered with yellow flowers and flower petals. She has almost a wry grin on her face, and she's looking at something that might be over my left shoulder here as I look upon her face. She's wearing what looks like a handsome blue dress that matches the fabric she is lying upon. No shoulder straps or anything, so just over the bosom and then going down a sort of corset formal kind of look, I guess I might describe the front as. And there's a bit of very old-timey feel to this.
Okay, and what's it from?
Is it from Careful?
Careful, yes. So what we have here is a image of a MILF, quite literally. If you've seen the movie, I'm afraid you understand what that might mean. Careful is getting from Guy Maddin, done in 2-strip Technicolor, obsolete process that gives it a kind of, it gives it a color, it's color, but it has a very unnatural look to it, which suits Guy Maddin's style very well. And it is a movie about, it's in a little subgenre of mountain films, German mountain films that were made in the very early talkie era. And this one is about a clan that lives on a mountain where everybody is very careful to walk slowly and talk softly because they are afraid of causing an avalanche. And that, of course, is a metaphor for incestuous desires.
Of course.
Yes. So a very fascinating early John Maddin film. I think John Maddin? Guy Maddin film. I think it's a lot of people's favorite Maddin film. It's been restored in 2K because I think, or has it been restored in 4K? I think it was 2K. Because I don't think 4K would really serve it well. It is a 4K restoration, and it's out this June, playing this week at June 26th at Music Box, June 26th and to July 1st only, and the Film Forum in New York, June 26th to July 2nd only, and then some other locations, Los Angeles, Rhinebeck, New York, St. Louis, and Portland, and maybe we'll see a reissue of this on Blu-ray. I'm not sure it was ever issued on Blu-ray. It was definitely on DVD. I have it as part of a Guy Maddin box set from Zeitgeist. So that's about that on Careful, unless you guys have something you want to add about it. Have either of you seen it?
No.
You probably should at some point. It comes
We
recommended.
probably should.
Comes recommended. But let's move on to the next one, a still that Pete can describe.
All right. Well, this is a concrete-looking set, possibly even a prison cell of some kind, or merely a concrete patio. There is a round pool of water that's starting to look about as yucky as our national reflecting pool. It's got a little aqueduct coming out of one side feeding it, and there is a person seated next to this, or at the lip of this fountain, possibly with her back to us, if that's long hair, or crouching and looking down. It's kind of hard to make out. Anyway, and into this round pool of water. Don't ask me what this is from.
Okay. Giles, what's it from?
Well, judging from the order of my tabs here based on your email, I'm guessing, is this Mare's nest?
Perhaps. I thought it was Mare's nest, but maybe it's Mare's nest. I don't know. So this is another limited release. I think this one's going to be in even fewer theaters than Careful, despite being a new release film.
Oh.
It's a experimental indie film festival art house kind of thing. And I do have the description up, which is all we know about it, from Grasshopper Films' site. The description of Mare's Nest is: Moon travels through a mysterious world free of adults. She meets a sage and her translator in a mountain hut where she tries to understand what is happening. She meets many others who show her different possibilities for living. She observes and moves on into an unknown future. And so, experimental art house thing with a world of all children. Reminds me maybe, I think I bring to mind the thoughts of other movies featuring only children. Often are weird movies like The Ascension, which was the original remake of, our original version of Tragedy of Man, which later got the animated remake or adaptation, and then Bugsy Malone, the gangster movie with all children cast, which
That one.
I don't know. Did you guys see the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I look at the trailer. It looks like a very spiritual film. It's got this kid just driving through desert landscapes, and seems to be a movie where philosophical ideas and emotions are as important as plot and character, perhaps.
I'm glad you said that, Pete, because I'm looking at the Where to Watch list on the Grasshopper Film site, and one of the screenings is at the Philosophical Research Society in Los Angeles, California. So that probably suggests something about this movie, that such an organization is screening it.
Of all the places to have a Philosophical Research Society.
Okay, well, if there are no other thoughts about this one, probably not something many people will see in theaters, maybe VOD. We'll just move on to the next one because it is a busy day, and this one is kind of a big deal for certain people. Giles, would you describe this? I just describe it. I'll tell you what it is after, I guess.
Okay, I mean, this looks sort of like one of those sideways-oriented, perhaps, movie posters. The director and title dominate the left-hand side. Up at the top, there's a beautiful array of table flowers and other bits of stuff extracted from the outside for an arrangement, including 3 red roses. And dominating the right-hand third is a very delightful place setting with highly polished forks, including a dessert fork, a knife and spoon, beautiful handle work on those. 2 different glasses, one containing red, probably wine, the other white wine. A small item that I can't quite guess. Perhaps it's a little votive candle or something. And of course, with any dinner setting, there should be a plate with food on it. And this has one, with a gold-rimmed porcelain white, otherwise porcelain white plate there, with 2 well-cut round lemon slices, a small little patch of berries to offset the balance and color there. And I'm going to presume a possibly roasted, possibly not roasted, small bit of vermin lying on its side, looking, well, I guess dead and restful, with its tail gracefully arcing around the bottom left-hand side of the plate, mimicking the roundness of the serving surface.
Yeah. And this is, I believe, the actual title card for John Waters' Desperate Living. And that is, although, to put it less delicately than Giles, there's a dead rat on the plate. And I don't think it's been cooked because its hair is completely...
Yeah, I was not optimistic.
So this is coming out from the Criterion Collection, Desperate Living. It's actually my favorite of John Waters' trash trilogy, despite the fact that Divine is not in it. It is probably the weirdest of his trash trilogy in that it occurs in kind of an alternate fantasy world where Edith Massey is a queen over a bunch of perverts who are living in this town called Mortville, where Mink Stole flees after accidentally killing her husband. And there are lots of perversions there, including a baby in a refrigerator and some strange lesbianism. On Criterion Channel. By the way, what do you guys think? Do you have thoughts on this?
It's my favorite John Waters movie as well, probably. I do tend to get them mixed up a little in my mind, though, because especially the trash trilogy, because all 3 movies are basically people screaming at each other for a lot of time. What's her name? Mink Stole plays the lead. Yeah. Yeah, and boy, she belts out her Faye Dunaway best. It's she is just ringing with hate. And then she's getting attacked by lesbians when she goes to the bathroom. They're all over her, and she manages to slam herself in a stall. And then she looks up, and there's like a glory hole, but for boobs. And there's a pair of just breasts sticking out of the wall at her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, oh boy, one scene after another. This whole movie's madness. It does kind of miss Divine. But and also I kind of sort of saw it as well, John Waters himself calls it a fairy tale for messed up kids in a way of speaking. I kind of the fairy tale form of it, the way they end up in kind of a magical land, almost a Wizard of Oz type setting with this queen. And these well, more like a Return to Oz setting in terms of trauma. But yeah. So I mean, anybody who loves John Waters, this is a must-have. Case closed. And let's see here. I kind of picked up a little bit. I rewatched it, and I kind of picked up a few hints like Forbidden Zone. The people that made Forbidden Zone might have seen this, and it seems to have something of the same structure. Instead of going to the 4th dimension, they're going to this place. I don't know. But maybe that's just me. I'm just hallucinating.
Well, let's see. I mean, they came out very close in time. I'm thinking Desperate Living is 78 is my guess. And let's see if I'm right. 77. And then Forbidden Zone came out in 1980, I believe. And 82. So actually 5 years had passed. So yeah, very, very likely that there was some influence there, I would say. All right. Well, Giles, any thoughts on this? This is maybe the biggest, one of the 2 biggest items of the week for people to pick up.
Yeah. In its way, the trailer looked very compelling. I don't have much of a relationship with John Waters. I certainly am rather aware of his career and respect him very much as an individual for all he's done as his own persona and for the world of cinema. But my glancing exposure to him is, I think he sort of straddles more on the side of gross than I necessarily particularly want to sit through. This is my own peculiar brand of prudishness. Perhaps I don't judge him for it, nor do I, adversely judge any of his many fans. But I expect this will be among the many great John Waters films I won't be watching.
Mm. I will say it's not as gross as Pink Flamingos, but then very, very bizarre. And it's not as mean, although it's very mean-spirited, it's not as mean-spirited as Female Trouble.
No.
Mean-spiritedness is another that's like, I need a lot otherwise to go into a movie that is has that mentality. But as I say, this is just my own view here, and I recognize him as an icon in a number of ways.
All right, Joss. Well, we may come back to John Waters for you with something that may be more palatable for you. But let's move on to the next kind of big one. Whose turn? I think it's Pete's turn. Pete, this Blu-ray cover.
I'll give it a shot. It's a Blu-ray cover. In the foreground is a man, a young man in perhaps maybe some kind of futuristic looking garb. The poster has like 70s, 80s science fiction vibes to it. In the background is a rather there's what looks like a stone circle with the astrology signs carved on it. And then from inside that circle, we glimpse a woman's eyes peeking out at us just over the title. And the title would be Malpertuis? Malpertuis?
Yeah, they pronounce it two different ways in the trailer.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, one of them is the Malpertuis is the French way, and Malpertuis is the German going on there. Because there's
Malpertuis?
Yeah.
Malpertuis is how I've always said it, so I'm going with Malpertuis. Yes, a film by Harry Kumel, Belgian auteur. I doubt either of you have seen this.
Mm-mm.
No, I have not, but I do observe it has been certified weird for almost 17 years now.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Giles has, I believe, seen Harry Kumel's other famous movie, Daughters of Darkness. The Elizabeth Bathory vampire movie.
Oh, yes. Yep, it's all coming back with the Strange Telephone Conversation movie.
Yes, the Strange Telephone Conversation movie. This one is a lot weirder. Pretty surreal. It's about basically the premise is this gentleman on the cover. You see the blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy with the tousled hair is a sailor who returns to his ancestral home, the mansion of Malpertuis, and goes inside and meets all his strange family members that live there, presided over by their dying patriarch, played by Orson Welles, whom everyone is vying to inherit from. But Orson has a condition that anybody who inherits from him must agree to stay in the house of Malpertuis forever and never leave. And as you watch it, you may think, these characters might symbolize something, and that might be a twist, and it might come to the end, and you might say, hey, that was the twist, and I guessed it correctly. And then there are two more twists after that. So it is very strange, particularly at the end. A very strange movie, which is why it's canonically weird. Underseen movie was out on DVD, had limited availability, now finally out on Blu-ray for what I'm pretty sure is the first time in the US, from Radiance, who is a British company, but they still put out stuff for the US. So that's another one, good one to look up if you're not familiar with it and you just want something that's very, very weird and will probably confuse the hell out of you by the end. Malpertuis is what you want. All right. Let's move on since we have so much to cover. And Giles, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but you've seen the still before probably. So
I do. We're looking. This is still shot is a narrow corridor, servants' quarters, perhaps crummier part of a large building. There's a cluttered bunch of stuff in the middle to background of like doors and wardrobes and things leaning against some narrow walls. And with a hand on each of these narrow walls, spread out in T form, is a somewhat frazzled-looking middle-aged guy with a mop of hair and an expression of dismay. And he's wearing a sort of chef-style shirt thing, double-breasted with the wide apart set buttons that one would associate with either a high class dining establishment, at least as you might see in movies. Think, I'll say Ratatouille, since a lot of people have probably seen that kind of, classy kitchen worker garb. As to what he's doing in this corridor, I couldn't tell you exactly.
Well, I'll tell you. He's sort of marveling that it is this corridor is much less wide than it was just a little bit like yesterday, because it keeps getting narrower and narrower. And the movie is
Mr. K.
Mr. K with
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. Yes, Glover. We got the pronunciation of his name definitively settled. It is Glover, not Glover. Yes, and did you guys see this by chance?
I'm still dying to see it because Crispin Glover, but
Our
also the premise
Clark
is fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have not.
It is another very weird movie. Not the greatest. It didn't get the greatest review when we reviewed it. Our Enar Clark reviewed it. Didn't give it the greatest review, but it is very weird. It's the kind of surreal movie that doesn't get made very much with this kind of budget. It's sort of, although the name suggests Kafka, it's not really super Kafkaesque. It's more Alice in Wonderland meets H.P. Lovecraft in a hotel with Crispin Glover. And if that's not enough to sell you on it, I mean, there's no help for you. So it's now on Blu-ray from Magnolia, I believe. And speaking of yet more things that are on Blu-ray, we have about 12 Blu-ray releases we're discussing this week. It's up. Pete's up, isn't he?
Yep.
You don't have to.
Okay. Well, we got the back of a case here. There's a room full of people in very dark setting, perhaps lit by dim blue Hollywood nighttime lighting. There's a rather apprehensive looking girl in the foreground with an A carved on her shoulder, the letter A, that is. And a few other shots in the movie showing a couple of women, I guess, laughing and playing around. There's a man on a bed with a breathing aspirator or something on his nose, perhaps. And another shot of two women apparently in a clinic with one of them holding up a hypodermic needle. And this is the Blu-ray, I guess, of Alpha, which we've discussed here before.
Yes, we've discussed it before, and I reviewed it. Julia Ducournau. Her third movie, you might remember her most famously for her canonically weird movie Titane. And before that, she had a very stylish horror, cannibalism horror movie called Raw. And this movie is kind of a departure for her. The premise is this young girl gets a homemade tattoo. Her mother is terrified that she may have contracted the disease that is spreading across France through this tattoo, this homemade tattoo, and the disease causes people to turn into statues. So that's the magical realist premise of it, but I have to say it's a bit disappointing for Ducournau fans because it is more of a family mother-daughter drama about, her being rebellious, her mother being maybe overprotective, and them coming to a happy medium than it is a truly weird and surreal movie like her first two movies. Take away the disease that is turning people into statues, and as I say, it's just a Euro-style drama. Well-made movie, but as I say, probably a bit of a disappointment to anybody who's expecting something with a little more zest to it. I'm sure neither of you saw this, so if you don't have any comments, we'll go on to the next feature. And they don't. Now we're getting into the vinegar syndrome section of our outsider section of our broadcast right now. We'll have two that fit this sort of category. Here's the first one, and Giles, you're up to discuss this still.
Excellent. Well, this is, I'm sure, very purposefully overlit scene of, I'm going to just, we'll say infant's bedroom because of some of the accoutrements. White wall, white small bed thing. I see some either a pillowcase or some bed sheets that have some, playful, basic shape, strange shape, color things that you might find in an infant or toddler's room. Dominating the frame is a young woman in what looks like an auburn or orange wig with curly ends on the hair there, looking over her right shoulder at a small infant doll thing that's dressed in a very pale green onesie, shaggy toddler hair over it. Certainly not a human thing. And bespattered around its mouth is a bunch of sort of red blotching, which I guess moving back to the main figure of the woman here, who I will point out is wearing a very bright yellow old style house dress for a housewife, and she is exposing an upper section of her left breast, which seems to have matching red splotches, which to me suggests there may have been some adverse biting going on from this not alive thing she's holding.
And what is it from? You should.
Oh, well, this, of course, is from, is this the Sono piece, I imagine?
Nope.
No?
Pete, you got a guess?
Oh, from our huge list. Let's see here.
Oh, What Dreams May Come, right?
Oh.
No, it's not.
I know.
The Nude Vampire? No.
No, it's from Girl Internet Show, Kati Kelli.
Oh, that was also going to be a guess. Okay, yeah, that one.
Okay. And this is, so I gather what this is it's a collection of shorts from this woman, Kati Kelli, who had a YouTube channel and put out some exceptionally strange videos. And then she died in 2019.
Ooh.
A lot of her videos are still available on YouTube on her channel, which we might link. Why not? And although I think some of them, I'm sure that some of them, or at least one of them, on this Blu-ray has never been seen before, except, well, it's been seen by somebody, but it wasn't on the YouTube channel. So it's a big, big surprise. It's supposed to be her magnum opus. The other thing that's interesting about this is the selection was partially curated by Jane Schoenbrunn of I Saw the TV Glow and the upcoming Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which I imagine Giles will see at Fantasia. And so that is a big endorsement for this work. And also it's coming from American Film Genre Archives. Genre Film Archives don't usually put out new stuff like this from the 2000s. So that's another pretty big endorsement for this collection. Did you guys see anything about this or know anything about this?
No. However, when I'm reading about it, I'm thinking we're probably gonna see dozens of these in the future because we are in the era of YouTube bedroom broadcasters, basically. Just there's so many people channels out there have been pumping out millions of videos, and we may see compilations and collections yet.
And if
So
she'd lived,
some of yeah.
go on. Well, I was going to say if she'd lived till 2026, A24 might have given her a movie deal. Because as we saw with Kane Parsons and the Iron Lung guy, who didn't get a movie deal from A24. But,
Oh yeah, that was a video game based, right?
yeah. Yes, but both from YouTubers. There was a short trailer. It didn't really give you much of a sense of it. I guess neither of you saw it, which is not a problem. But yeah, this looks interesting, and it seems like it is a shame that she died young. Nobody says what she died of, so we'll just leave it at that. I guess it's a secret. But yeah, this is something that looks interesting, and as I say, is endorsed by people who should know quality weirdness when they see it. Let's do at least one more before taking a break. We're up to Pete, right?
Oh, of course we are. This is a character. Okay, well, we're outdoors. We are in some kind of dense wooded area or jungle. There is a very menacing looking fellow emerging from the greenery. He's either incredibly ugly or wearing a mask and brandishing something in his right hand, but I can't really make it out. It's kind of blurry. And he's got a suit jacket on over his shirt. And this looks very low quality video, like it was shot
VHS.
on camcorder.
Yeah, VHS camcorder, and it is.
Is
it
this
Weirdsville?
the David the Rock Nelson collection?
David the Rock Nelson collection.
Oh,
Volume
yeah.
3.
Okay.
So I don't know how we missed the first 2 volumes of the David the Rock Nelson collection, but they're now on to number 3, which apparently is maybe entirely the horror movie anthology Monster Tales from 2002, which is 3 Monster Tales crammed into one anthology feature. I shared with you guys, I don't know if you watched it, but I shared with you a video from this or related to this. Did either of you watch it?
I shied away from the 6 minutes 44 seconds.
Pete?
Well, the screenshots for this one look pretty cheap. I'll say that.
Okay, so you didn't watch the video thing.
Yeah.
I will describe that. What that is it's the filmmaker himself David "The Rock" Nelson watching his own film for 6 minutes, the beginning of this film for 6 minutes, and intercutting it with reaction shots of himself cramming his mouth full of potato chips and marveling at how great the film is. So, this guy has a unique sensibility. It's movies, that are just shot in the backyard on camcorder with monster masks and bad plots. And this kind of thing you would expect teenagers to do, but this guy is in fact a middle-aged man and a former Golden Gloves boxer. So there you go. Really strange story, I suppose. There are a number of features on this, including a fake commercial and stuff like that. There's the Monster Tales feature is 137 minutes long. It does have 3 stories, and then there's at least one other short film on it, some interviews, stuff like that. This is from Saturn's Core, who specializes in releasing shot-on-video stuff, usually from the 80s. This stuff is a little bit later, from the 2000s. So it's, of course, released through the Vinegar Syndrome sublabel. And with that said, we are more than halfway through, but I believe we have to pause before we come back and cover the last 6 of our Blu-ray releases in this massive week. And then after that, we'll join Linus O'Brien for a super packed show to talk about Rocky Horror and his Rocky Horror documentary. So with that said, we're going to stop right now, and no time will pass for you. And here we go.
All right.
Hello, and we are back to finish off this slate of Blu-ray reviews, and then to go on to talk to Linus O'Brien. I forget, I think it's Giles's turn. Here is a Blu-ray cover for you, Giles.
All right. Blu-ray cover for sure. The insert, that is the cover, very black, with bits of dark to slightly less dark red, so bichromatic except for the title. What do we see here? We see a bespectacled fellow's head toward the top, a broad mustache. Looks like one of those interesting bureaucratic authority figure kind of stereotypical faces. This head is looming above 2 ghostly forms coming together with floating hair, creating a sort of almost like a wing-like effect for the otherwise floating head of this fellow with glasses. And as we scan down, we see, the director's name, we see the film title, and we see what I'm guessing is the film title in its original language. And this is all above the main image of the bottom half of this, wherein there's a small silhouetted figure standing in front of an ominous-looking archway that has some plants growing around the curves of the arced part above the columns, more mysterious, ephemeral, gauzy what's-its to the left and right of this opening. And in the opening proper, I don't know, looks like some vertical line suggesting one of those sort of beaded screen things, but otherwise very cloudy, ambiguous, and ominous.
I think cloudy, ambiguous, and ominous is probably the way to describe this movie, though I haven't seen it. But yes, and the title is?
The title, of course, right there is Dogra Magra.
Dogra Magra. By Toshio Matsumoto, who you may know from the canonically weird Funeral Parade of Roses. He didn't make a lot of movies, but the movies he made were weird. I think we've discussed this one before. This is like a standard edition of a limited release. You guys may not have been on the podcast at the time we discussed it. I will give you the synopsis from the product description. A man wakes in an asylum with no memory. Dr. Wakabayashi helps him recall his past, in which he kills his bride on their wedding day. Or does he? I don't know. I just added that. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. So, yes, I believe we don't know all too much about this. It is, they do have a audio commentary by the director on this Radiance release from 2003 and an interview with him from 2003. And the movie itself came out, I don't remember.
88, I think.
88.
Yeah.
Okay. So his movie Funeral Parade of Roses was in the late 60s. This is his last movie, I believe, in 1988, Dogra Magra. I did share the trailer, which is cloudy and ambiguous and ominous. Did you get anything from it?
Looks we got some unreliable storytelling going on. It does look pretty fascinating, and I do like this. One of the featured reviews on IMDb has the headline "Underrated, Surreal, and Surprisingly Fun," which those are three things that certainly attract my attention. And one of the extras also stands out here. Instructions on a Hodara Sutra, a popular Japanese chant delivered by Dr. Misaki in the film by legendary street performer Hiroshi Sakano. And so that is one of the neater looking extras I've seen on a Blu-ray. So,
and very arresting visuals, I would say, from what we saw in the trailer. Any last thoughts, Pete?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. The trailer is very surreal. Had a hard time figuring out what exactly the movie is about from that, but yeah, this looks interesting. I'll give it a look see, especially Funeral Parade of Roses. I'll probably watch that first.
Okay, we'll hold you to that. So you're on the hook for reviewing it.
Oh, what? I am? Okay.
No, you don't have to. But let's go on to this next one. I told Giles we'd go back to John Waters, and it's Pete's turn to describe this.
Okay. We are in a what appears to be a teenage girl's or young lady's bedroom. There's a picture of some celebrity heartthrob on the wall. There's girly pink decorations, a little figurine on the dresser, a closet with clothes inside, open closet door, and a woman in a Cupid doll top, frilly, yellow bead necklace, got a couple of bracelets on her arm, and a exaggerated wig that looks like it have its own zip code on her head, and she is gesturing in the air at something or somebody. And I think the hair is a good tip.
Yeah, do you recognize the woman?
Do we recognize the woman? Is this Ricky Lake?
Nope, it's Debbie Harry, Blondie.
Oh, Debbie Harry. Oh, for God's sake. Okay.
Looking pretty good in her middle age as she's now playing a mom in Hairspray.
Right. That's Hairspray.
Yeah. So neither of you saw Hairspray?
I've not seen Hairspray.
Oh.
It's the one normal movie by John Waters, so I'm leaving that one till very, very last.
It's for John Waters' completist. Probably not the one normal movie, but it's his most normal and commercial movie about growing up in Baltimore in the 1950s and the race divide there, but very nostalgic. It's a shot at making a PG movie. It's, as I say, it's for John Waters' completist. You see a completely different side of John Waters, the sort of fond, wistful look back at Americana rather than the vicious, satirical, nasty look at Americana.
Mm.
Yeah, it's got a great cast. We will say it's worth a watch. But then again, as I say, far completest of John Waters. But it's now out on Criterion Collection, and so yes, John Waters fans and Giles, if you want something gentle, sweet, and life-affirming from John Waters, here you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's Gentle Sweet Life of Her. I don't oppose those things. I think that one John Waters movie I've seen actually is Cecil B. Demented, which I believe is his least successful movie.
Maybe one of his late movies. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just move on then if we have nothing else to say about it, and I don't think we do. Here's one we've covered in the past. It was released on a limited edition. Now it is available for everybody in a standard edition. We don't have to go too deeply into it, except you'll want to describe this wonderful cover. And Giles, boy, do you have a job ahead of you.
I sure do. We got some cool, groovy style font for the title up at top in a smooth blue. We got the director plain style type small font bottom left-hand side. And this image here, what do we got? All right, I'm going to say tarot card is the feeling I'm getting from this. There is an ornately bordered circle in the middle surrounding a yellow sun center. And in front of that is a very fantasy stylized figure of a not, yeah, I'm going to say topless because I think that's a stylized shadow on the underside of the bosom there. But with coil wavy red hair, she's holding a three-pronged candelabra thing with lit candles. She's sporting a very spook purple cloak with lots of folds and gauze and stylized web-like pauldron style kinds of things. And she's standing atop a collection of winged bat-like imp creatures that seem to be themselves perhaps preying on the pale death blue corpse of a different woman, a brunette woman who's well, her heart may still be in her body. There's at least an open bloody triangle on it. And of course, that is only the foreground in front of this ominous circle. When we go up and we see some little thematic vignettes, I guess I'll call them, above and around the circle. There's a Hindu goddess-looking figure on the left with ominous fingers and a rather striking expression. And above that, making a corner, we see an ancient columned building with a grand arch and swarms of small figures either emerging from or going into that. Flipping over to the right-hand mirror of that arched building is sort of Hierophant-looking individual with a bloody cape cloak thing looking over one of those death blue female forms. And below that on the right is a pair of, again, female topless images, one of them in a stockinged, the other, both of them stocking, one actually almost looking like a miniature, the other. And of course, over the circle, bleeding into the corner pieces here of the Hierophant and arch building is a Baphomet-esque, Baal-esque, demon-looking skull thing whose horns look like, translated into bloody tendrils. So this is the kind of poster you buy and you slap it down in one of your main rooms, and everyone will think it's cool.
All right, and we're out of time. So that's quite a poster, isn't it? I would say the motifs here are skulls and boobies, done French psychedelic style, with a little bit of Art Deco too, and bats. It is The Nude Vampire by Jean Rollin, which is his second movie overall, also his second vampire movie, his first movie in color, and the one that kind of sets the tone for his early work. If you know Jean Rollin vampire movies, this is kind of the archetype because his first movie, Rape of the Vampire, is quite different due to budgetary restrictions and things that happened on the set. This is more the kind of movie he wanted to make. Lots of nudity, as it is The Nude Vampire, a very crazy and bizarre plot, and very slow paced. So just like a normal Jean Rollin vampire movie, I did share something with you guys, which is just a clip from the film. Did you watch it?
Yes.
Thoughts?
Lots of shadow wandering and scantily clad femaleness going on.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Slow and spooky. Pete, any thoughts on this?
Well, I haven't seen this one yet. I have vowed to watch the rest of Gene Roland's at least vampire canon now that I've seen Demonique. And are there any clowns in this one?
No, I don't think so. I haven't seen it in a while, but I don't.
You haven't seen that one either. Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So, well, all right. If there's clowns, there's clowns. So you just go into Gene Roland, and of course, lots of nudity.
Yeah, if you
Because
want
he's another guy who likes to film women with their clothes off.
If you want
artistically,
clowns,
of course.
there's a good one with clowns. But what was the name? It was Lust for a Vampire, I believe, has clowns in it.
Good.
Twin
Yeah.
clowns, no less.
The one also known as Caged Virgins. And that's a good one to watch. Very, very rich. A little more texture to it than a lot of his slower paced movies. The Nude Vampire, now available for roll-on completist in a standard edition of a previously available limited edition. I believe that's a 4K disc only. Moving on, if we may, Pete, you want to describe this?
Well, okay. Wow. So this is a loose collage of images. It's kind of reminiscent of 60s style monochrome type printing because each of the images are in a kind of monochrome and they're also cut out in very whimsical puzzly pieces. And it's variously showing several Japanese women. One laying supine in, I guess, a living room setting, but sitting up a bit, and a couple with gals canoodling or kissing or cuddling. One where they're kissing a man or about to kiss him, and one where she might be embraced by somebody. It's kind of hard to tell, but she's looking off to the side, like whatever's going on at the moment, she's not into it. Yeah, and
you can guess this one easily.
The title being the Roman Porno Reboot Collection Volume 1.
Okay.
Which I saw the trailer on this, and I'm trying to figure it out. It seems to be some kind of Japanese feminist statement.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. So it's a collection of 5 movies, only one of which we're really interested in. And those movies are Antiporno, Dawn of the Felines, White Lily, maybe it's 6. I'm not sure if White Lily Aroused by the Gymnopedes is the title or if those are 2 different movies. White Lily, I think they're 2 different movies. White Lily and Aroused by Gymnopedes. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Also, Wet Woman in the Wind, which is a great title. But Antiporno is the only one we're really interested in. So what this is Nikatsu Studios, back in the early 70s, had a successful series of softcore porn films that they called Roman Porno series. We're not sure where the term Roman Porno comes from. It's either Roman as in a novel or Roman as short for romantic. Opinions disagree on why it has that title, but they did. So back in the 70s, they did these softcore films, and in the late 2000s, they decided to reboot them and give them to current directors to remake movies in that style. And one of the first directors they chose to remake one of these movies was Sion Sono, an odd pick, it turns out. And he made Antiporno, which is a surreal movie, nothing apparently like a legitimate Roman porno. In fact, kind of the antithesis of what they were doing. And that is the trailer, Pete, that I shared with you, which I assume is the one you saw. And that brings us back to your comments on the trailer.
Yes. Yeah, so the trailer is just showing anti-porno?
I believe I only shared the one for Antiporno.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that does seem to be kind of a feminist value statement about, I guess, how we objectify women with porn, blah, 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 blah.
Or
how women
prostitution,
objectify
as
themselves.
the be the dog mantra that recurred throughout the trailer.
Yeah, there's a pretty strong kind of submissive element to it, Pete, that I thought might appeal to you for Pete's
Yes, the kinky stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, your kinky stuff,
okay.
Brandon.
All right. Yeah, that's right. No, she is she is making this girl be like a dog, I guess, and it's some kind of dog role play, but it's being forced on her. I don't know. but it's some kind of examination of something with a sociological commentary to it. Maybe not preachy, but certainly a message is there.
Yeah, I like the description here. Anti-porno is an expectation-defying antic study in blighted eroticism, damaged psyches, and shifting power dynamics set against outlandishly theatrical backdrops. So, it looked neat.
Which is definitely not what Nikatsu Studios was signing up for when they asked people to remake their classic softcore films in the 70s. But then again, they hired Sion Sono, so they had...
They must have known the risks.
Yeah, they knew the risks. At any rate, Antiporno has been released on its own and is easily available, but this is another release of it just in case you want it and you want 4 more movies, softcore Japanese movies to compare it to. The Roman Porno Reboot Collection, Volume 1. And as I say, Antiporno is the only weird movie in there. Okay, 2 final ones to wrap up, and then we'll finally be done with this marathon and be able to talk to Linus O'Brien. So, neither of these are movies I'm especially fond of them, but here they are. Giles, I think it's your turn to discuss this.
Yeah, simple Blu-ray cover here, a list of people in it, the title with one of the letters replaced by an ominous gnomish looking figurine. And front center of this trio, we see a dazed guy in his probably late 20s, stubble, close cropped hair, disoriented look. He's either just woken up, he might be stoned, hard to say, but he's got a red hood on, and over that hoodie, I'm guessing he seems to have another jacket. Over his right shoulder, we see young, pale, dirty blonde female with definitely bags around the eyes, some heavy makeup. Looks all right. I'm trying to figure out her expression. It's like one of the most fatigued, wry pseudo smiles I can think I've ever seen. So she's there, and of course, over center dude's left shoulder is kind of grimacing beardo guy with mustache going into goatee-esque thing, long sideburns, very 80s style hair, odd expression, and looming at the bottom of these 3 are wisps of smoke.
Okay.
Cigarette or otherwise burnable, inhalable smoke, I'm guessing.
And a title?
Weirdsville.
Weirdsville. So we checked this out based a long time ago. It was released in 2007. One of the first movies I reviewed in maybe the first 2 years of the site, maybe first three, at a reader's request. The title, of course, suggests weird. Not as weird as the title suggests. It's more of a quirky little story about junkies fighting against Satanists. Basically, has very 2007 indie feel to it. It's okay. It's a way to pass time. There's some dwarfs who are medieval reenactors in it, so there's that. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer or know anything about this, but if you have any comments, say them now.
No, I saw the trailer and have no comments.
I saw the trailer, and there's some surreal. I do see one of your dwarfs in a uniform that suggests like he's a security guard or something in a couple scenes. But outside of that, yeah, like you say, 2007s, it very much has that feel to it. Is it supposed to be a comedy too, or?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what they're trying to be.
Like I say, it's okay. You won't feel like you've wasted your time watching it, I don't think, but it's not really something to go out of your way to see. But it is on Blu-ray, and it does have its fans. So if you are one of those fans, now you got it on Blu-ray. Every movie has its fans. So, and the last one.
Yep.
Whose turn is it? That was
Me.
Pete's turn. Pete.
This is a very Dante-esque depiction of the netherworld, I believe. It's we see some classical architecture connected by a bridge on cliffs in the background, and a flat foreground. Everything is bathed in an orange-red glow, suggesting a trip to hell, perhaps. And prominently in the foreground is a man in a suit and a dog walking next to him, just strolling along, perhaps on a quest to find something.
Strolling along on water, no less.
Is that what it is? I'm trying to figure out if it's supposed to be lava, water, or just a ground. Okay. All right. Anyway.
Okay. And title?
What Dreams May Come, with Robin Williams, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Annabella Sciorra.
Yeah, this is on Blue. It might be on 4K Ultra UHD.
Yep.
It is, yeah. 4K Ultra UHD and a Blu-ray from Shout. It's a movie a lot of people like, with some great visuals about Robin Williams choosing to go to hell. I think it's hell. It could be purgatory, but I think it's hell after his wife is sent there after suicide, I believe. So, love conquers all. He's willing to go to hell for his wife. And have you guys seen this by any chance?
Yeah.
Neither of you?
I'm kind of iffy on a lot of those movies Robin Williams is doing in the late 80s, early 90s, and he was trying to find himself as a serious actor. And a couple of those were hits, and this one really did not make much of a dent when it came out. But I'd see it if it was on. If I ran across it, I can add it to my watch list.
A lot of people really liked it, but it is very sappy and sentimental, and I think that's why they liked it and why I didn't like it. Although I will say the visuals are all done as if they're paintings, and the visuals are excellent and probably make the movie worth seeing, even as you kind of feel a little sick from too much sugar from Robin Williams' performance. I think I wrote, so in my original review, I wrote about it. It clearly wants to be taken seriously as art, capitalized, but it's simultaneously too concerned with being inoffensive and inspirational, so it ends up playing like Orpheus as adapted by someone whose only previous experience was writing greeting cards for Hallmark. So that was my thoughts on it, but some people took issue to that because as I say, there are people that really, really love this movie for its very sappiness, I would say. Um, like I say, watch it for the visuals. That's pretty much it, which are really very impressive. It won an Oscar, a deserved Oscar for visual effects, which are just like recreations of famous paintings, which Robin Williams walks around in. So very, very cool that. But okay, with that out of the way, hey, I think we can squeeze in a little conversation with Linus O'Brien about Rocky Horror Picture Show and his documentary about Rocky Horror Picture Show. Giles, why don't you get out of here? We don't need you for this.
Yeah, well, just as well. I'll go and play some solitaire somewhere alone.
It'll be a little crowded. Giles hasn't seen the movie. He's not going to join us to discuss. He's seen Rocky Horror, but not the documentary. So we will be back in just a moment. No time will pass for you, and so on.
It'll be kind of like a time warp.
Very good, Pete. All right. In just a second. Hello, and we're here with Linus O'Brien, son of Rocky Horror Picture Show creator Richard O'Brien and director of Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror, which is the definitive documentary about the ultimate cult film. Hello, Mr. O'Brien.
Hello, lovely to meet you both.
Nice to see you. And so now Pete over here reviewed the movie in print for our site, and I'm going to let him ask most of the questions up until the end. But let me start out with one thing I was a little curious about. So you interviewed a lot of people for this documentary, and pretty much every major surviving cult member, or cast member, but also a lot of the fans. And in the case of this film, sometimes the fans are just as interesting as the actual creators. So I was curious if over the years you'd encountered any like rabid super fans of the show who, for whatever reason, you weren't able to feature in this documentary, and if you could tell us something about them.
Fans that I couldn't feature in the documentary. It's an interesting question, actually. Yeah, I don't know exactly if I have. I actually encountered most of the fans after we'd finished making the documentary at various festivals, South by Southwest and all sorts of places, Rome, New Zealand. So my interactions with the fans have been predominantly after the documentary has finished. One of the fans that's and one of the Shadowcast members from the 8th Street Playhouse, Sean Waters, I actually met at Sal Piero's wake in New York, and Sal Piero was the head of the Rocky Horror fan club and really primarily responsible for the midnight screenings becoming such a phenomenon. And so, yeah, having him included and having his story in the documentary was really important. I think that the main thing for me was, we interviewed Shadowcast members from Los Angeles, from New York, and some from the Midwest. And my hope was, and I think we achieved it, is that through their stories, through Lilius Piero's story, who was Sal's sister, Sean Waters, Jack Black, and Trixie Mattel, and the Shadowcast members that I mentioned just a second ago, my hope would be is that everyone who's ever participated in Rocky or who's ever loved Rocky would see themselves represented through the people that we had in the documentary, and that their stories would be their stories, and the performances that you see would be their performances, or at least similar to their performances. So that was really the one of the driving forces behind wanting to make it, is that I wanted everyone who's loved Rocky to see themselves in the documentary, even if they weren't directly featured.
Okay. That's a good enough answer. All right, Pete, you have some.
Just good enough. I thought it was excellent.
It's an excellent.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome. Yes.
Go ahead, Pete.
All right. So for one thing, I think it bears mentioning when you mentioned in your Reddit AMA, and you said people can share their story through the hashtag My Strange Journey.
Hmm.
So have you seen any feedback on that?
Yeah, I mean, when we did the AMA, we had direct feedback, and I think people have been in sharing their stories all along. It's actually very funny because, to be honest, like when I go to these festivals, I was just in Frederick in Maryland, where they had the documentary at the Silver Vox Festival, and most of the time you can see people want to come and say hello, but really more than wanting to say hello, the first thing they want to tell me is the first time that they ever saw Rocky Horror. They feel you can feel it coming before they've even said hello. And I really appreciate and look forward to those stories because obviously their memories of seeing Rocky Horror for the first time are much like the memory of their first kiss or their first time they lost their actual virginity. It's that burned into their brain. So I really welcome those stories because they're so important to the longevity of Rocky as a whole.
Mm, wow. Yeah, I'm a rock and roll nerd as much as I am a movie nerd. This is shelves of rock and roll documentary biographies behind me. But anyway, so
Right.
yeah, growing up with a musician dad, that must have been a gas. You were
I,
talking about you were operating the theater lights when you were 4.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you grew up as part of this experience, but like in the documentary, you've got him on the acoustic guitar and he's showing how he composed some of those songs in the first place. Did
Mhm.
he just noodle around on acoustic guitar at home sometimes?
All the time.
Yeah.
And in many ways, my dad communicates through music maybe more than he does actually verbally. So you could often tell what kind of mood he was in by what he was singing around the house or what he decided to sing. And music is really it's funny because music is when people ask when I ask people what they'd like to listen to, they're like, "Oh, I'm not sure." Like if I'm just playing songs or music around the house, and I said, "Well, would you like to stay in the mood that you're in, or would you like to change your mood?" You know, and music is very powerful for that. And when I ask people that question, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm feeling sad. Do I want to stay in this feeling? If so, maybe I'll put on Radiohead, you know." Or do I want to change it up and I'll listen to the Temptations or something? You know, it's music is very, very powerful and has been a huge part of my life and our household. So, yeah, having it was very important to me to have my dad sing some of those songs acoustically, especially with the musical arranger and our old dear friend Richard Hartley because they hadn't done it in 50 years. And so I thought, what a treat it would be for myself and for other people to hear what it's like to have my dad sing songs, you know, when he's just feeling so inclined. And one of the funny things is that when were setting up to film them doing the songs, they were like, well look, we're not going to perform. And I was like, what do you mean you're not going to perform? We just flew Richard Hartley halfway around the world. And he was like, no, if we're feeling like we'd like to go into something, we will. And I think it's that added pressure of having to perform maybe puts more pressure on him to uh, do a excellent job when it comes to his voice and his guitar playing. And if the more casual it feels, the more relaxed he feels, and the less pressure there is. So yeah, it's always been a treat. In fact, I was in New Zealand about 3 weeks ago, and we had my dad invited some of the neighbors around to sing a few songs and hang out, and he did, and after like a few bottles of wine and some jazz cigarettes, as my dad likes to call them, like he broke into a rendition of Unchained Melody, and it was startling. It was one of the my breath was taken away, and I've heard him sing songs around the house for ages, and he completely nailed it at the age of 84. And so yeah, giving fans a chance to see a little glimpse into what that might be like to have an afternoon with my dad singing a few songs was very important to me, and very important for the documentary.
Hmm. All right. Here's one. This is a poser. From a sociological perspective, I have to wonder about, Rocky Horror came out in 1975, just 6 years after the Stonewall riots. Um, it was a time when people were fighting tooth and nail for civil rights, especially the gay and lesbian community. And really, part of this movie is popularity is the release of being able to go someplace and be yourself
Hmm.
without judgment around people who are like you.
Hmm.
I'm kind of wondering, why has there only been one Rocky Horror Picture Show? How come there isn't more in this genre, if we could call it that? I know it's impossible to catch a lightning in a bottle making the same movie,
Yeah.
but what other movies
Well,
are out there that are even close to this?
how my answer to that would be, it's not easy to write 15 amazing songs that all connect together, right?
Mhm.
You can maybe write one hit song, you can maybe write two, but to write a musical where all the songs feel connected, there's a storyline that is threaded through those songs, it's very, very difficult. That's why, in my opinion, it's one of the 10 best musicals of all time. And so your question is, well, why can't anyone write another hit, one of the top 10 musicals of all time? It's difficult.
Well,
It's very tricky. So I think that's probably why there hasn't been anything else, because it's very difficult. And the thing is that you just don't know where. He never tried to write a musical with themes in it. He never tried, it wasn't, he never set out to write a musical that tackled gender expression and all of the themes that people have gravitated towards. I think sometimes when you try to do that, it comes across as being too preachy or disingenuous in some way. And so by
mm,
not doing that, and by having it be pure fun and just pleasing himself, all of these other things happened without him trying for a second. If the musical, it started in 1973 at the theater upstairs at the Royal Court, in a theater that holds 60 people. And if it had been successful for those 3 weeks and sold out and nothing more had come of it, everyone would have been completely happy. So the fact that it's taken on a completely different life of its own is something that you can't capture. So there's the producer in the documentary, John Goldstone, who produced Rocky Horror Picture Show. He says you don't make cults, audiences make cults. And that's what it is. And I think another interviewer in the movie goes, "How do you think it became a cult classic?" To my dad, he's like, "I have no idea. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know how to make a cult classic." And it's just you just can't set out with that goal in mind. It will ultimately probably fail, unfortunately.
We always ask two questions at the end of interviews. And one, I'll set up by saying you are not a director necessarily by trade. This is your first time directing a feature film.
Mhm.
So, are you going to continue with documentaries? What are you working on right now? What's coming next?
Um, well, I'm actually working on a documentary about neurodivergence at the moment. It's called Almost Normal. And I can't get too far into it, but it's really exploring neurodivergence and neurodivergent people and how uh, they are the ones who kind of push and move society forward in ways that probably neurotypical people don't. And not to say that one thing's good or one thing's bad. It's looking at the fact that we shouldn't be trying to cure neurodivergent people. What we're looking for is neurodiversity as a species. And so hopefully learning about each other and how far along we all are on the spectrum of neurodivergence is something that I'd like to illuminate and look into. So that's really on the top of my agenda. And the other thing is a mockumentary about Dame Edna. And
What?
and when I say those three words together, I get the looks on faces just like yourselves for people who know Dame Edna, because what better way to explore Dame Edna than a mockumentary? So, yeah, those are the two immediate things. But yeah, I've always been interested in film. I did my degree in film. I work for a film company up in Vancouver called Network Entertainment. But music has been my main focus for most of my life. But film is a very, very close second. So
Oh,
yeah,
sounds like you caught the bug from doing this project. So
absolutely.
so we do have some more time. So Pete, you can get in another question before I ask the final question.
Oh, okay. Actually, that neurodiversity thing sounded very interesting.
Hmm.
Um, let's see here. What put you on that particular trail?
Well, I think, my son got diagnosed as having ADHD. And then when you start looking into it, I got a bit frustrated with it because, ADHD encompasses like 1,000 different traits. And I'm like, well, God, I mean, surely all of us have some of these, right? And then I realized that specifically do have a lot of them. And then I realized that my dad has probably more than a whole family combined. So then I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to explore and look at, let's say, the mountain climber Alex Honnold, who did the movie Free Solo, and he's obviously on the spectrum to some degree. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know that, Michael Phelps probably is neurodivergent, Simone Biles, Billie Eilish, or there's a lot of people at the top of their profession seem to have a lot of neurodivergent traits. And so, what is it about them that enables them to have this singular focus and block out everything else that's not interesting to them? And actually, sometimes I feel like it's not only blocking out, you actually have it's almost like an allergic reaction to anything outside of their interests. Like I have personally, I was on this phone call with a therapist at some point. I was on a joint Zoom call with a few other people, and it was so boring. I felt like I was being crushed to death. So I had to turn off the camera, I had to turn off the mic and lie on the floor while this conversation was going on because it was so boring to me that I was almost, I had a visceral physical reaction to it. I'm like, I don't think this is normal at all. Like most people would be nodding their head and go through the conversation. I just couldn't take it. So, learning about myself, learning about my family, and learning about other people. And there's this other thing, there's this expression, someone said it the other day, that we have a way of finding each other. And I think that neurodivergent people do have a way of finding each other. And I think that that's a very interesting. And then I started looking at my friends and I was like, oh, yeah, that friend is neurodivergent. This friend is new. And then I started realizing that 80% of my friends had neurodivergent traits. So I've just become very interested in the whole conversation around that.
All right. Cutting edge science inquiry, really. That's something for our time too.
Right.
And there is sort of
Greg?
a connection in the interest uh, in outsiders with the Rocky Horror Picture and neurodivergent, kind of a connection there.
I definitely believe that as well. I definitely believe that there's something else to that as well. And isn't that interesting? It's not just about feeling free and feeling free to express yourself, whatever your sexuality. It's more about finding people who do feel just a bit different, and I think Rocky has always provided community and connection, and isn't it wonderful that it provides it to people who are feeling a bit lost? To have the documentary be a small part of this legacy is has been really fulfilling.
You got a quick
All
one?
right. No, that's good. You can take it away, Greg.
Oh, okay. Well, I just before I ask my final question, I do want to say I believe that you in the UK celebrate Father's Day same day we do here in the US. Did you spend some time with your father yesterday?
No, he hates the telephone, and he doesn't like Zoom calls that much. I mean, when we do interviews together, it's nice because there's a purpose to it. But otherwise, again, and that's probably his neurodivergence coming through. He really can only accept what he wants to accept, or what he physically can accept and emotionally accept, and everything else gets shut out. So we exchange emails, and we do talk on the phone sometimes, but it's when you're with him, he's completely connected, and if you're not, then he's off in his own world somewhere, writing or creating or watching things that interest him.
Must be have been an interesting world to grow up in then.
It's yeah, yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, just it's funny, isn't it? The older you get, the more you learn about your parents, the more you learn about yourself. The more grace you give your family, the more grace you give yourself, and that's part of growing up. So yeah, still navigating each other and our families, but in a very loving and supportive way.
Yeah. Well, I think the documentary is a very touching tribute to your father, so that must have been very meaningful.
It
Um,
was really meaningful to me. Yeah.
and so we'll close with the question we like to ask all of our guests, which is, what is your hometown, and can you recommend a restaurant there for us?
Okay, well, my hometown since 2011 has been Los Angeles, and the two places I like to go to the most are one of them is very famous. It's the Dresden Room in Los Feliz. It was actually featured in the movie Swingers quite a lot. Actually, they filmed a lot in there, and it's just got
Ah,
just really what I like about the places I like in Los Angeles are usually dark places because it's so bright here all the time. It's really nice to go into a place where there's low level lighting. So the Dresden is got some very old school, unique charm to it. It's more of a bar than a restaurant, though it does have a restaurant part. And the other places in Los Feliz is too. It's called Little Dom's. It's just a lovely little restaurant. Again, very quaint, very dark. It's got a great atmosphere. And so I recommend going there if you're ever in LA.
Okay. We have a lot of restaurant recommendations for LA, so because obviously a lot of people live there, so
Sure.
have a
Yeah.
huge list of places if we ever go there. All
What I
right.
say
Well, oh,
what
go
I
on.
say to people is I always judge my restaurants on their restrooms and the ambiance. That's how I like a place. I figure if you've got a very clean bathroom and you've got low level lighting with nice soft music or that's how I judge it. The food comes third. So not that the food is bad at Little Dom's at all. It's very delicious, but that's not the primary reason I go to places. It's my hot take, as you would say.
Well,
yes, very hot indeed.
you, you can get a great food at a lot of different places, but a great atmosphere is a
Yeah,
treasure, right?
it's got to be curated, right?
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Linus. It was a real opportunity and a great time to talk to you. So,
Yeah, it was lovely to meet you, Greg and Pete. Lovely to chat to you both.
All
all
right,
right.
thanks.
And
Awesome.
maybe we'll see you again down the line, but
Yeah, that would be nice.
we'll say goodbye for right now. Thanks a lot,
All
and
right.
see you next.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.